Cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Codurance Meetups. My name is Martin Garcia, and today I'll be acting as your host for the talk presented by Kristian Muñoz, software craftsman at Codurance. Kristian will be talking about how to go from client to server-side rendering with Vue. Quick reminder that this talk is being recorded, and you can find all these sessions on our YouTube channel. Take a look and remember that Codurance was born from the community and believes in giving back to the community. So if you feel like you can share your knowledge giving a talk like this, please feel free to reach us. And now, good luck, Kristian. It's your time.
Thank you, Martin. Happy to see some faces around. So thank you all for coming. I'm Kristian, as Martin said, I'm software craftsperson here at Codurance. And I will try to bring some light into this topic that it's ways of rendering websites in modern frameworks. So I will start sharing my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Cool. So, as I said, this is going to be about how to move from client-side rendering to server-side rendering. Must saying that it's a huge topic, and a lot of people have been talking and writing about it. I just want to bring my point on that, because I have been working with some front-side frameworks. Sorry, because I'm super nervous. So, and until 5 minutes from now, I will be like stuck speaking. So, so I have been working with front-end frameworks since a bit of time. So I realized that this topic is kind of recurring each time. So what's server-side, client-side, and why we are talking about it? So server-side rendering is the classic and conventional way of rendering pages. You will know it if you have been developing for a couple of years. It's when the user does a request, the browser is, through the browser, is doing the request to the server. The server will take all the resources, all the things that are needed. It will compile it, create an HTML file, and bring it to as a response to the client browser. So at this point, the client browser will be able to render it. So it will display meaningful data for the user, but it won't be interactive at this moment. Then the browser will take all the JavaScripts and related resources that are needed to finish this rendering. And once it's done, it will be a fully interactive page. So as you see in this diagram, it's quite easy to understand. So you do the request, the server is answering, you download things, it's rendering, and all it's clear. So what happens with client-side rendering? Client-side rendering, it's pushing all the compiling steps and the management of these, putting together all these components to the client browser. So it means that what is going to happen here is now that the client is going to do the request to the server. The server, or even a CDN or other kind of a static delivery services, will return an HTML that is not usable. It doesn't contain any meaningful content. It will just contain some tags and some resources, JavaScript resources. Then the browser itself, it will download these resources, it will execute them, and at the very end of the process, the website will be interactive. So as you can see here in the diagram again, it's not until the last step when the page is rendered and interactive. So going back to the previous one, we see a big difference. The loading step, it's taking almost all the time in the client-side rendering, and the interactive step, it's the same. It's until it's not even all downloaded, you are not able to interact with the page. A third option here will be some hybrid approach, that is pre-rendering. Pre-rendering, it's taking this client-side rendering step plus the server-side rendering step, putting all together and just write a static file with all the contents, all the JavaScripts, all the things that you will need. So it will bring to the user a fully usable HTML that the user is going to just download and execute, the browser, sorry, and it will be faster. But you will lose some of the options you will be given in other rendering ways. So say that, what all this means. So it means that we have three main differences between these three types of rendering. The first one, and maybe I won't say is the most important one, because for me it's the third one, but page load, it's something that it's impacting a lot to the user experience. So you may be looking forward to have a really fast page. So in this case, content-side rendering, it's your option, because it's sorry, if you are looking to have a real fast interaction with the user, this is your option, because it will be slower at the first time to get the content, but once the content is loaded, the subsequent requests are quite fast, because the interaction between the browser and the server is not going to happen. It's just going to happen if there is any API or external resources access. But the navigation between pages, let's say, for example, if you want to pass from homepage to who we are page, this is not going to do any request to the server. It's just going to load data into your browser. In the other hand, server-side rendering, it's faster for the first time to content. This means that when you access a website that is server-side rendered, you will see faster things in your screen, meaningful things like a text or a menu or things like this. But it will keep the same speed for each subsequent request. This means that if you are going to go from the homepage to the who we are, it's going to take the same time. It's not going to happen as in client-side rendering, that it's going to be faster. It's, in this case, it's going to keep the same time, the same speed. And for the pre-rendered one, what is going to happen is that the speed of the rendering is going to be always the same, because you're always delivering the static content that the browser just needs to display to the client or to the user. So another difference between the three of them is the way cache strategies is impacting to this rendering. So what I mean with caching strategies, you can you know that there are many. You know that there are many strategies already implemented in browsers, for example, for caching some images or caching some external resources. There is also a lot of strategies that can be implemented in servers, like, for example, I don't know, Redis cache, for example, to catch things in the server, or any other cache systems you may think of. So which one is going to take more advantage of these caching strategies? So client-side rendering, as it's fully loaded in the client, and it's not going to do any external request, besides the API calls that may happen, will be taking a lot of advantage of the browser caching. So it will, all the resources that are reused between all the requests that is going to do, changing from page to page, this will be cached. So it's going to take a lot of advantage of this. For server-side rendering, it's going to happen more or less the same, but just in the requests made between cached scripts in the browser. This means that if you are using, for example, Bootstrap in your application, it's going to be cached from one request to the other. So it's not going to ask again the server to return it. It's going to take also advantage of the strategies you can do in the server, but maybe these are not enough for you. So it really depends. And for pre-rendering is the same. It really depends of the way you catch the request in the server. So in this case, caching is better for client-side rendering in these terms. And finally, the topic of why changing from server-side to client-side, or in the other way, is SEO. SEO is the main thing all the products wants to be good at, for saying. All of us want to be at the first page of Google. So one topic that people from SEO will ask you, or to you or to the development team, is to have good techniques to make all the crawlers be aware of your content. And the thing is that with client-side rendering, what is going to happen is that all the metadata of each page, meta tags, content tags, and these kind of things, is going to be handled by JavaScript, making some of the content not available for some of the crawlers. This is changing bit by bit because Google already is using and parsing and executing JavaScript in their crawlers, but there are others, like, well, there are other crawlers and searching engines that are not doing it. So if you are focused into something really important into SEO, you may need to move to server-side rendering, because it's the best choice. Is always returning the full meta tags already rendered, and it's going to be the best choice. And now, which one to use and when? Well, it depends, right? As I have been explaining, there are this slide is it's a bit an opinion more than a fact, not as the other ones. The other ones are more things that are really real. This one is more something I think is the best suite for this topic, but is something that I would like you, if you have some experience, to be discussing later on. So please take the opportunity to do it. But what I think is that if you are really focused into SEO, your priority should be server-side rendering. And if you are a lot into user interaction, like if you have a web application or a dashboard or something that needs a lot of user interaction. So here, I think Martin shared it in the chat. This is a application I created almost a year ago in my first meetup. Oops, sorry. In my first meetup, I created a VUE application based in in using TDD and good practices. So I took this one and I said, okay, how can I move this one from a VUE application, common application, to a more server-side one. So if you follow all the commits in this repo, you are going to see that I start from the application and I'm applying all the steps that we are going to go through now. And at the end, you will see that it's working as a server-side rendering. I'm going to use Nuxt or Nuxt, or I don't know how to pronounce it. That it's a framework that it's server-side oriented. So I will share with you this link also. It's where is the chat? I don't know. Well, if you can share it, Martin, because I lost the chat. So
yeah.
So this is a VUE framework that it's oriented for server side. If you scroll a bit, they are the two main things they sell for saying it's the server side rendering and the static generation. So I took this one because it's super easy. You will see it will give you the opportunity to test your applications. If you want to move from a server client side rendering, that it's the view itself, that is something that if you have been working with Vue or React or any other frameworks, it's the default behavior. And then applying this, it's super easy to see how it changes the way of rendering. So I think I have all my things set up. So if you have any problems with the size of the screen or something, just raise your hand or say something. I will try to fix it. So what I have here in my console is I just moved to the first commit, that is this one, where I created the application. It's just copy pasting the other one here directly. So it's where I am here in this console. So I'm going to open it, and this is what we get. I will go through what is here, and then we will start by doing some tests and start doing things. So first of all, in the package JSON, you will see the package, the common packages that is using Vue, the Axios, because this application is doing some API calls to the NSA API to gather some images, and it just has the Vue and core.js because it's required, and also it has some jest configurations, and so it's quite easy. It has two components, the gallery and the search. It has an application that is the main application of the main application. It also has a bunch of tests that we are going to test right now. So while I'm speaking, I will start installing all the things. So yarn install. I will also, I have the same application in another folder, and I will run it so you can see what it's doing. And I will also run, well, we will see how it goes with this one, and then I will continue with the other one. So given the structure we have, and given what we want to do, there is something missing in this project. We are just testing the gallery and the search components. As you see here, we have a gallery component and a search component that are the ones that are tested here. But in any place, we are testing the application. So we are not sure that what we are going to apply to this project is going to work actually, because it's not tested. So we are going to write a test for that first of all. So I'm going to create first a file that it's going to be called, for example, home page.spec.js. Oops. No. Okay, so it's inside test, unit test. I created a new one. So what we want is a test that is going to should render notes text. And I will explain you now why I want to test this. So if I go to this application right now, is rendering this search image from an NSA. So I'm going to to be able to differentiate between the one I'm running here, that is the base one, and the one we are going to be working with. I just want to see here next search images from. So this is what I'm going to test. So what I expect is to have a home. So what I expect here is to have a component that it's going to have some text and this text is going to contain these search images plus some next, so we can differentiate it. And well, if I try to run this, if I go to and I do yarn test. Oh, sorry. So what is going to happen? It's going to complain. We see that now we have three suites, but one of them is failing because, well, it can find it. So let's write some more code. So I'm going to use shallow mode because I don't want that this test to be rendering all the components that are inside this main page. This is just for this session, so you can actually test anything. And if you have been working in a lean way, for sure you will have some tests that will need to be passed before moving through all these steps. So I just want to create this test to be sure that what I'm going to do is not going to break anything. So that's the reason to have this. So this will be called home page, and it will have empty parameters. And so, okay, I think I will need to import something else, but let's see what happens. Will complain. Sorry, it's a typo here. So let's see. By the way, let's see. So yes, it's complaining because it can't find this home. Sorry, again, a typo. It's going to complain because it can't find it. So let's see. We will need to add it. So yeah, now it's not able to find this homepage. I'm going to do just to change the name of the component to homepage, so I will be able to name it properly. I'm going to import it just from here, and now it should be working if I am not mistaken. So what is going now? So cannot read property components, and let me because I think shallow mode. Sorry, bear with me. Things that happen in the direct. So cannot read. Yes, I think it's because this can be tested right now. I wanted to do this to make things easier, and it's going to make my life harder. So if it's not working, I will just go back to what I wanted to do. So yes, this, let me just, I have to be honest, I have a backup repository where I'm taking things from. So oops. Let's see. So here it's I think it's the way I'm loading the files, because it's okay now. So sorry, it was the way I was loading it depends of the way you have configured your framework. It's going to be able to load them from in one way or the other. So I was doing it wrongly. Sorry again. So now we have a test that is failing, but it's failing because of the good reason. It's failing because we don't have this next text in the search bar. So I'm going to add it, make it work, and we will be able to continue. So at the same time, I'm going to open a new terminal, and I'm going to execute the server for this application. So we will see the same application as before, but with this within this project. So serve. And now next steps. So next step is quite easy, as we are going to be using Next. Is what I'm going to do. I'm going to install Next. So you see now we have these two applications. the one without the prefix is the one fully based in Vue, and this one is the one that is going to be based in with Next. So let's do it. It's quite easy. We just need to do a yarn, and it's going to add the required dependencies to be able to run it. There is something that it's going to be changing from Vue to Next. That is the way we run the server. So for Next, we are going to create a new script that is going to be called, for example, dev. And this one is going to execute just Next. And this will take the Next server and run it. So now we have so we will have another server that is this one. That is going to load the Next framework. You see, this is from my local host. In another port, is going to load anything it finds. So just with this, you have Next, and you can start using it. As it says, you need to create some scaffolding to be able to do it, and is what we just need to do. We just need to move things from one structure to the other, and we will be able to run our application in Next. It's as easy as it looks. So what's the first step that we need to do is the structure we have right now is based in Vue. So we need to create a folder called pages, and another one called components. And if we reload our server, it's going to complain. Now it's going to load the application again. Going to compile for, this is compiling a step for development. And it says that it can find anything because we don't have anything in the pages folder. So how to solve this? We are going to move our application view component that we were using before to the new structure, but instead of moving it directly, what we are going to do is we are going to rename it, because just for a demo purpose in Vue, the default application is called app, and in Nuxt, the default page is called index. So we are going to create a file here called index.vue, and we just need to copy paste. Well, we're going to do another thing. We're going to use our test to verify that what we are going to do is going to be working. So what I'm going to do is just change this by pages .index. So now what is going to happen is that it's going to fail again. We're going to verify that it's failing. But what we just have done with this is telling to you can create a new test to test the new behavior. But as we are in this demo, we already know that this is the place that we are going to be changing it. But I will encourage you to create a new test just for your new one. So let's do it. I like the idea. So I didn't make it in my test today, but let's do it. Copy, paste. And we are going to call it homepage. And not. So this is going to come from pages, index, and this is going to be called next. Okay, so now we have a new test for the new pages we are going to create. That is this one that is empty for now. And let's see what it says. It will complain for another reason now. As we are adding a new layer, we will need to change some just configuration. But this is something that will happen if you add any kind of project or changes into your project. So we just copy paste the configuration from one to the other. That is this one. So this is the one that is using Vue, but we want to have a more generic one that is going to take resources from Vue, TypeScript, and others. So, and if you check the error, actually the mapper is not mapping properly the file. So this one is going to compile, I hope, but fail because it can't find. So now, yeah, now it's failing because it's trying to find this text, but it's actually receiving an object, blah, blah, blah. This is because the view is empty. We're going to start moving things from our old template. I don't know why this is happening. If someone knows why this is happening, please tell me. So this goes out. We just want to have a text here right now. So let's see what happens now. I think we still will need to define something else. Yeah, because we are not defining any module inside here, so we need to just oh man, what is happening this? Someone knows why this is happening. I don't know what I touched it.
You have a column selection mode enabled.
Yeah, but I don't know how to disable.
Can you click on the footer of the?
Ah, yeah, this one, right? Ah, I love you, Raul.
Me too.
Okay, let's see. Again, is called next. So yeah. This one is called next. So now I created a test that is going to validate what is going on now. Could not locate module application. Now we have a conflict in this one. So as we are changing from the structure of we are changing the structure from one to the other, it's complaining. So I think if I keep both, well, anyway, what I will just do is to continue. So I know that this is now failing because I'm changing the structure. So it's just a fail because of that. But the one that I'm implementing is passing. So these are good news, at least from this side. So let's continue copying all the content. So now I will add the component that we had before. It was this one. We will need to tweak it just to use structure, and we are going to use this component here. So now I have the same code in my previous, well, there are missing styles. So now we have in the application coming from Vue and in the index coming from Nuxt, we have the same exact code. And we know it's working because the, well, or not. Let me. This is coming from here. This is coming. Yeah. So the last thing I will need to do is to move the old components to the new folder. It's just copy pasting it from one side to the other. It's not. You don't need to do anything else for components. You don't need to do any change. You just need to move it. And so now. Just config. I added something here.
Sí, tienes un carácter que no.
So now we should see something more clear. So yes, now we see that the gallery and the search tests are passing. The only one that is not passing is the one we created for the homepage. So now that we are sure that we created the new page following the requirements from Nuxt, we can actually delete this one. There are some tests that you will be using for exploratory purposes. So this one was one of them. It was just giving us some how do you say, to be sure that it was created to be sure that what we were doing, it was actually good. So now we should be all green. Okay, so we are all green. We now can run our server again and see if the application works. So let's see. So now it's going to load again the application. And yes, so if well, this application, what it's doing is something really easy. It's displaying some images. So this is the one we just created with Nuxt. This one is the other one. So we will see the same. Just for your information, if now I do, it will take a bit, but if I do it again it's automatically because it's cached from the server. So this is one of the catching things that browsers are doing. So okay, so what we have now, right now we have two applications that I will put side by side that are doing the same, that they look almost the same. They are both in development mode. if we check the network right now, we will see almost same behavior. So it's taking some time because, well, it's taking almost the same time to load. This one has a health tick, so this is why this time is going to be changing. So you see now it's 14, so it will increase. But in first hit, it's going to take more or less the same for both of them. But the good thing is that now if we build both applications, now that we are sure that we have the same application working in two different systems, and if we build them and we execute them, we're going to see some differences. Let's say I won't say huge differences, but I will say differences. So what I will do first is I'm going to build the newer one. To be able to do that, we can actually remove these ones because we're coming from Vue. So what I'm going to do is add the ones for Nux that are is not service start in this case, and we can remove this for now, just for the demo. We're going to remove it. So now what we are going to do is build it and run it. So let's see what happens now. So build, and it's not going to take much. So at the same time, I'm going to go to the other application. I'm going to do the same. It's going to be the same, and so okay, so something that to take into account is that for the Vue application, I just built it, and it says that now it's built under the dist folder, and it can be deployed. You will need to set up a server by your own to be able to run it. If you go to the development guide of Vue, they provide you two super easy steps to do it. So it's what I just made. So is what I'm going to do here is you just need to do serve and which folder you want to serve. And now we will see again our applications. So this one is the older one, and this one is going to be the new one, and here is where the magic is going to happen. So I know I have been talking a lot, so if you want to say something, I'm okay. So now what's going on here? So what we have right now is two applications that we built. We are running in production mode, let's say, and we see that they are both faster. In fact, they are half or one-third the time they were taking before. And a good thing to check here is the main answer from the server. That is, so here in the new one, we see a lot of preload JavaScript that is going to do a lot of things. All the CSS it's added also here, and then we see our application that it's rendered, and it has the application we created that is this one, So we have an ID application that it will have an H1 with search, blah, blah, blah. It's this ID application with an H1, and it has the search inside with the form and an input. But if we go to the other one, we just see the application itself. That is the container for the container that will take Vue to render the data. So this is the main difference. So after all I have been talking, all the things I have been saying, all the things I have been going through, the main difference it's here. So this will make the difference for you if you need to use this server-side rendering or this client-side rendering. And I think I will stop here. If there is any questions, I can go through it. And well, sorry if I mistaken at some point, but you know, this kind of things happens in live demos. But I didn't wanted to do a video, so I really wanted to do a demo, and yeah, that's all. So thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, more than welcome.
For the moment, the chat is empty, but I've got a question, Kristian. So if I understood properly, the way or the path to develop our application is more or less exactly the same, but we just need to follow this scaffolding, right?
Yeah, the thing is that I'm going to move this here, so I will be okay. So the thing is that in Vue you can actually install some dependencies, and you can create your own server, you can create your own client, and you can implement a server-side rendering directly into Vue. But the thing is, it's getting super complicated because you need to handle a lot of things. So with Next, this is solved. So you don't need to take anything, any of these risks. You don't need to figure out how to make, for example, error responses and these kind of things is going to be taken and handled by Next. And that's why I went through this way. So actually you can do it in wherever you want. But I think it's, if you really want to test your application in one way or the other, in server side or client side, I think this is a good way. So just focusing in moving your things, testing it, maybe applying some performance things and making it work. And maybe in, I don't know, in 2-3 hours, you have a small proof of concept of how it will look and how you can actually do it.
Yeah, looks really good. Good job. Yeah. So do you have any question, guys? If not,
hello.
you can.
Oh.
Hello, Manu. Go.
Hello. Hola, Martin. I have a question, Kristian. Well, thank you for sharing your time with this demo. Have you been experiencing with the idea of isomorphic applications with pre-rendering in these kind of technologies you are using today?
To be honest, not yet, but there is something I would like to explore more, and I would like to maybe next session can be based off. It's the micro frontends. It's something that maybe it's super interesting in the way that you are going to be separating the logic of your entire application into micro steps inside your frontend. So you will be able, for example, to in this application to separate the logic of the text from the logic of the search bar. So you will then put them together, but you can then split your teams into front ends teams, for saying, with people from design or development, and this just based into a small part of your front end. And I think in this part is where things like pre-rendering, it's adding value, because then you will be able, by putting all the things together, to pre-render and to deliver faster things to the client without losing this speed of delivering. I don't know if I explained myself well, but I think your question was this. If not, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Just want to know if you have already experience, or you're gonna do something. I guess so. From your words, you will experience with it, and maybe it could be nice to have another meetup with you regarding this topic.
Yeah, sure. If you have any topic you would like to touch, just reach me and I will take a look, because I would like to explore some topics in the front end side, because it's something that is not touched in what I think is the proper approach in this way of TDD and this kind of thing. So I would like to explore this, how to apply all these good practices into the front end.
Yeah, so, I think it could be nice. Also, testing and how would it work, a demo with an isomorphic implementation in which you suddenly connect from a client which does not support JavaScript. Imagine you are using a browser, very old browser maybe, or just disabling JavaScript, and how the web application does render anyway. And yeah, trying both scenarios and seeing that it's really working like that, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I will take a note about that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I have another question. And regarding the logic, I see that you are testing directly the components.
Yeah.
Which is in this case maybe it's quite affordable, or let's say easygoing for you. What about if you have a complex component and you have a business logic there in the component? Would you suggest separating a bit into layers, so having the server-side logic or client-side logic in a different layer, and then testing them separately? You know,
yeah,
it's just a bit.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just referring a bit to that, you know, the testing pyramid, which is a recommendation to test the lower layers instead of going directly to the components, which is quite
what I can say into that is I like I started testing components because it was the smallest piece of code that I was able to test into this application. When I started, as I said, this was coming from another meetup that I was creating the application step by step. So I agree with you that testing components maybe it's driving you to the wrong approach, because you are not testing business logic more globally. So what I will say is it depends of which kind of application you are delivering. And if there is a lot of business logic, then yes, you should be testing for sure separately the business logic from the components. In this case are really easy, really small components that are just gathering some information and displaying it. But yes, I would like to improve this application to have more business logic, or maybe change the application and do another one to be able to really test how the server is working with this logic. But I didn't have the opportunity yet, so I would like to do it, but I didn't have the opportunity. But yes, I agree with you that you should be testing separately the components from business logic for sure.
Nice. And the last,
yeah, sorry. In fact, when I'm coming from the more, how to say, more old-fashioned way of working. I was working into I come from, my background is PHP, so I was doing all the logic, business logic in PHP, and then testing some code into the front end just for these components. So in fact, it is what I was doing, right? So I was testing this server-side logic in one place, testing the front side in another, and then you will need some end-to-end or integration test or other kind of test to be sure that you are doing the proper thing and you are integrating a proper thing. So this is, maybe you have a pipeline where you will be testing front end, back end, and all together. I don't know.
Yeah.
So thank you, Manu, for your questions.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, so if there is nothing else, so thank you very much all for coming and for being here, and see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Kristian, and thank you everyone for attending this meetup.
Everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
If you feel like you can share your knowledge given a talk like this, please feel free to reach us and we can organize it. And remember that this and all the previous meetups are in our YouTube channel. Cheers, guys.
Thank you. Bye.